Yeah. Hi everybody, thanks for watching another episode of the Motley Show, where I go over the past week and look at what interesting stories have floated to the top and what seems to be important to at least me. So, technical side note, I'm finally back on Final Cut Pro, so this should actually go a little smoother, although I did enjoy iMovie. I enjoyed some of the things that were going on there. There had some nice functions, and so not downplaying iMovie at all, but just I'm glad to be back on Final Cut. So let's just jump right into it, and here's the menu for this week. In the appetizer section, for those who love Sherlock, which is an amazing show, and if you haven't been watching BBC's Sherlock, you should. You know that that is kind of where we started to really find that affinity and that addiction to Benedict Cumberbatch. He plays that role so fantastically, so amazingly, that then it was just everywhere he went, you were just happy to see him. And now the rumors are seeming to be finalized that Cumberbatch will play Doctor Strange in the upcoming Marvel movies, which is awesome. This is kind of like the pinnacle of casting for that, because he's perfect. What's even better is actually Doctor Strange is not just a one-off. He will continue on throughout the next kind of few years of the Marvel universe. So once he starts, we'll be seeing him in that character role a few times at least. So good going, Marvel. I'm super pumped. And I mean, if you haven't looked at the Marvel calendar of what's coming up, they've got things planned out for the next 15 years, 20 years. There should be at least one superhero movie between them and DC every year until basically you have children that have gotten out of college. Which, you know, for comic book fans is awesome. In the salad portion this week, I wanted to talk about John Spinello. He's the guy who invented the board game Operation. If you didn't play Operation as a kid, you sorely missed out. And if you don't play it now, you're still missing out. It's a fun game. It's a really, really fun game. But this guy actually built the game back in those days where a lot of people didn't have good lawyers, they didn't understand deals. So when he made the marketing deal for this, when he gave the rights over, he got paid $500 for Operation. That's it. He never made any money past that on a game that has made millions in royalties. So another case of somebody getting kind of screwed out of what they deserved. Now cut to decades later, John Spinello is old and he needs an operation. He doesn't have money. He doesn't have any kind of huge bankrolls coming from that game. So he's having a hard time paying for his operation. But fans of his friends, got together and they created a crowdsource page where people could donate to get his operation for him. I was actually going to put this out there so you guys could help as well, but it turns out by the time I looked at it for this show, he's already gone $5,000 over the predicted amount. So that's awesome. I'll still put the link down if you continue want to throw some money to him just for the fact that you played Operation as a kid and you want to support somebody who built that game for you. That would be awesome. But let's be happy about the fact that a bunch of people got together and they gave this guy money and now he can actually get the operation that he needs. And really, the joke is already there because he is the guy who made Operation. I'm not going to... In the drinks portion this week, there's Cheryl Atkinson. Now, she used to be a reporter for CBS News and then got fired. There was all this stuff going on about the fact that she was reporting on the Benghazi scandal, and she really seemed to have it in for Obama. It was constantly anti-Obama reports that she was putting in. Now, she says that that didn't sit well with her management and that they railed her out because of her anti-liberal bias. Other people say that she got railed out because she was way too conservative and not really what CBS News was going for. She was kind of letting her politics get in the way of journalistic ethics. But either way, she's not working there anymore, and now she's making a buck off of it by going over to Fox News, going everywhere, just railing about how she was standing up for her conservative beliefs, going after the administration, and she got run out of town because she just dared to go up against Obama and the Democrats, which is really a load of bullshit. So she's about to come out with this book, this tell-all book, and in there, she talks about how that she was hacked, that her computer was hacked because it had all these files, and she got hacked a number of times, she says. But she says she heard from a source, that a guaranteed source that she was very confident in, that the hacking was actually coming from the administration, that they were still going after her and they were trying to remove the information that she had against them. And at one point, during one of these so-called hacks, she took out her phone and videotaped her computer showing what was happening, showing herself getting live hacked. But if you watch that video, most of what you see is her moving around trying to stop things from being deleted. She's kind of throwing in mouse clicks and she's hitting the menu button to stop things from happening. What she sees is line by line things getting deleted. Now, if anyone watches this video and has really kind of a basic knowledge of computers and a basic knowledge of hacking, you would know that this is not the way any legitimate hacker would ever go after somebody's file. Honestly, if you got into somebody's Word document and wanted to get rid of it, Control A, delete. The whole thing is gone, and then you can actually secure the trash so they can't get it back. That's it. You would never delete it line by line, word by word. That's ridiculous. What most security experts watching this video actually determined, her delete key was stuck. Maybe her backspace key, but one of those keys was stuck and it was just deleting. That's it. She wasn't being hacked, she was stupid. But again, the conservative media is going over this. And they're saying, look, this is proof. It's not proof. They're seeing what they want to see. So Cheryl Atkinson, if you really don't want to get hacked again like this, try buying a new keyboard or a new computer, or just don't eat on top of it. Now for the main course this week, I wanted to talk about gun control. Now I'm not really going to get huge into the idea of it, but we did just have another school shooting back last Friday. And the fourth victim just died yesterday. So it's pertinent. It's back in the news again. And this was a case where supposedly the shooter had just been dumped by his girlfriend, and he actually texted his friends and his cousin to come see him in the cafeteria to eat with him. And then when they came, thinking, this was just another lunchtime cafeteria session where they would sit down, he pulled out a gun and shot them specifically. In the last few years, we've had a number of high-profile mass killings. And that was enough to get gun control talked about, but really not enough to get gun control pushed through, at least at a federal level. Some states have enacted some gun laws, but really nothing has come from the federal level. And those people that are saying Obama is coming for your guns, he has done nothing, absolutely nothing in gun control. He's said that he wanted to, but he's gotten nothing through. He hasn't even really proposed any laws on paper. He's just said he would like to see people come up with things. Now, there was a big rally for at least universal background checks, that no matter where you went, you would have to get background checked before you got a gun. Now, that's already in place in stores, but it's not in place in gun shows and trade shows and personal sales. Any of those things, which represent a huge percentage of gun sales, you can get without background checks. And actually, a lot of gun owners were actually for this. They said, yeah, that makes sense, let's do that. But the NRA stepped in and they said they were against it. They said it was against the civil liberties of the gun owners, against their Second Amendment rights, and they shot it down by telling the Republicans that they were going to score them if they wanted to do that, if they voted for it. So of course, it went nowhere. But here we are again, another school shooting, another tragedy, a bunch of kids dead. And what do we want to do about that? Is there something we can do about that? And the reason why I bring this up is because the midterms are next Tuesday, November 4th. And like I said in the last episode, you should go vote. It is important. This is one of those things why it's important. Because the people that are in office right now and the ones who may get office after Tuesday, those people are the ones who make those decisions. They're the ones who cast those votes in big, important legislation like gun control. So look into what these people are voting for, look into what their record is, and see if they agree with what you want. Out. In the dessert portion this week, I wanted to point you out to a little video about the upcoming Project Ara phone from Google. Now, originally this started from something called phone blocks, where you could actually pull blocks off the back of your phone and change it with things that you wanted more customized for your phone. Do you want a bigger battery? Do you want a bigger camera? Do you want more memory? Do you want a louder speaker? All those kind of things. You could just pick and choose and make your phone really the way you want it to be. It's a cool concept. Originally, I thought it wasn't going to go anywhere when it got announced, but Google picked it up, and now here it is. There's a prototype in their hands that you can see working, which is really cool. So check it out. In the charity portion this week, there's the Samaritan's Radar app. Now, I'm not exactly sure that this is going to work, but I at least like the idea of what's going on. What it does is once you put the app on your phone, it actually can read things like tweets and Facebook messages, things like that, and look for keyword phrases that generally come from people who are depressed, who might be suicidal, and then contact their friends and family and say, this is what they're tweeting about, this is what they're talking about, you should reach out to them. Now, it's not going to be perfect, and I really don't know if this is exactly the way to go about it, but I really think we should always continue talking and always continue pushing the envelope on what can be done to help kids with mental health issues. Because really, depression and suicide is such a huge cause of early death in teens and adults, and it really is not something that needs to happen. These are all things that are preventable. So the more we work on trying to prevent them, the more we talk about them so at least they're not so stigmatized, these are all good things. So whether or not the app even works at all, it's keeping the conversation going. So good for them for at least doing something about it. And lastly, in the something to think about news this week, we want to talk about catcalling. This week there was a video that came out showing a woman walking through New York for a determined period of time. What she showed during the tape was how many times she got catcalled throughout that walk. Now some of them seemed vaguely polite. You know, they're just saying like, hey lady, you're pretty, la-da-da, di-di-da. But some of them got a little more aggressive. There was even one guy that just followed her for blocks and blocks. Another guy who kept talking to her even though she wasn't saying anything. If you watch the video, you can see that she's definitely giving off a vibe of, don't talk to me. But yet these guys see it as appropriate and just fine to continue pushing themselves on her. Now again, the thing that is stupid also is that there are people coming out and defending this action. They're just saying, look, catcalling is just polite, it's actually compliments. These are just guys being nice. And leave it to Fox News to actually say all these things. But that's not the case. They don't understand. Catcalling is not just complimentary. Catcalling is harassment. These women are not asking for your compliments. They're not coming up to people and just standing in front of them and saying, how do you think I look? Do you think I'm pretty? Would you want to have sex with me if I ever gave you the chance? They didn't ask, so you have no need to tell them. But what do you think? Watch the video. Leave some comments below. What do you think about the people in the video? Do you think that this kind of catcalling is harassment? Do you think it's innocent? Do you think it's just not harmful at all? I'm interested to know what you think. Thanks for watching another episode of the Motley Stew Show. You can like, share, favorite, subscribe. All those things are great and they really help out the show. I love the community that's growing, so that's awesome. And yeah, as always, a little bit of Logan. Logan. Logan.
Logan, look at Daddy. Logan. Logan.
Way to go, Logan.
All the way around.
Yeah, you destroyed it.
Okay, I think we're done.
Nicely done there. Logan, can you say, I did it?
There's one more No, we're good, thank you.
Yeah, all right.
God.
They're not coming up to people and just standing in front of them and saying, how do you think I look? Do you think I'm pretty? Would you want to have sex with me if I ever gave you the chance? They didn't ask, so you have no need to tell them.